Hello. Today we are going to talk about the grammar translation method. So what is it? It is known as a foreign language teaching method. It puts emphasis on learning of grammar through the translation of text found in the target language. It has also been known as the classical method, as it was used in the teaching of classical languages like Latin and Greek. The texts are often works of high literature written in the target language. Some activities contain the memorization of vocabulary, conjugation, and reading exercise. The tactic of translation of the text as means of learning foreign languages has been used through the ages. However, the repetition of grammar rules combined with translation of text had its heyday in the late 19th century in Europe. Some historical figures appear as the promoters of this method, many of them German scholars. For example, Karl Kloetz is the most associated with the key elements in creating the structure for the grammar translation method approach. Starting in 1847, he wrote books dedicated to the learning of French with an emphasis on studying the grammar. The German teacher Johann Valentin Medinger advocated that language must be acquired by a target grammar translation. In 1783, he self-published the practice of French grammar. Other notable names are Johann Seidenstrucker and Heinrich Ollendorff. Let's go over the principles. There is a heavy use of the mother tongue in the class. It is used to explain the target language. The vocabulary is learned through the repetition of isolated words. There are long explanations of grammar and intricacies of the changes of the words. And the reading of difficult classical texts begins early in the learning process. Some steps and techniques. There is a use of translation of literary passages from already existing books or texts made by the teacher for the lesson of the day. There are reading comprehension questions, and they are categorized in three groups. The first refers to information that appears in the passage. The second one, information does not appear in the passage, but the student has to infer the information. The third one asks the student to relate its own experiences to the content of the lecture. Some more steps and techniques require the students to find antonyms and synonyms, to find them in the text and explain their meaning in the context, just as find cognates in the text and try to explain them and how they are similar to the mother language. The explanation of grammar rules belongs to the deductive application of learning the rules. There are exercises that require to fill in the blanks. The students are required to memorize lists of vocabulary and the grammar rules. They are required also to change the words in sentences, and at the end they have to compose a text, either by writing in the target language or translating the target language into their mother tongue. The materials are texts that are either classical literary texts, older and of higher difficulty, or texts made by the teacher, and in the meantime they can answer papers that include written exercise. On the roles of the class, the teacher remains the classical role of the authoritative figure, the one that speaks the most and explains the information to the student. The student remains passive, does not have that much time to talk or modify the class, and receives the information. There are advantages in this method, as it is spoken in the native language. It is far more comfortable for students to learn. There is the deductive reasoning that explains the rules of the grammar, and they begin to exercise their writing and reading early. Equally, there are disadvantages as it can feel a great amount of information that may overwhelm the student. There is not much of a time to practice the pronunciation, and the sentences are not found in everyday life. Thank you for your time and happy learning.